Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Well, folks, welcome again to this segment of the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, and I've got co-host with me today again, sort of a continuation of our last show that you probably saw. We talked about the national issue aspect of it. Well, we're going to bring it home, as I indicated before. We're going to bring it to Oregon. We got similar issues right here in the state of Oregon, like other states. But we're specifically here. We're here living and residing and whatever here in the Portland area, and we got our issues that we need to discuss. And so we're going to basically go through the same deal. Again, like I said, we got to make sure that that we understand that people are very, very upset. You know, we've just gone through a voting situation, let's say, on the whole issue with the city of Portland, which is our living room for the state, so to speak. And we got problems. We got some serious problems. So anyway, we're going to have the discussion, somewhat comparable if you saw the last show. If you didn't see the last show, again, I would suggest to you that you maybe consider doing that. And as far as where do you go from here after we get through discussions, and what we're going to be trying to get to you is that make sure we try to get to the facts as much as we possibly can. Make sure we get to the facts as much as we possibly can. And in most cases, those facts that we will probably identify with, just like people tend to identify the issue of the Trump. He's the president of the United States. That's what it is. We went through an election process, and we're still having problems trying to listen to what's being said. And that's a tough situation. And here locally in Oregon, we're having the same deal. We feel we need to talk to, i.e., an elected entity that could talk to the issues. And we're talking about here at the city of Portland. We got a new form of government. We got 12 people who are commissioners, if you will. We got a mayor. We got all kinds of issues aspect of it. And that's not really what the people asked for. What the people asked for was something specific. And in most cases, the people who asked for it, the majority, if you will, it was voted on, and they're right up front with you. All of a sudden, it was kind of like thrown, as far as I'm concerned, it was kind of like thrown away, and now we're still not dealing with the issues. You know what I mean? And so anyway, we made an opportunity. We made a situation to think that we could get someone from the commission. Unfortunately, the person didn't show up, and I'll be right up front with you. I might want to quote that name, but this, you can take your pick, because in all due respect, we have three people of the 12 commissioners that actually had the experience and exposure. We had two from the city of Portland and one from the county.
Right.
And then Dan Ryan, Dan Ryan, Loretta Smith, and who was the other guy?
Steve
Novak. Those are the three entities of the 12, if you will, that at least had exposure. And naturally, two of them, between Novak and Dan, they were sitting on city council, and were basically we're getting the discussion of the city of Portland, if you will. And so consequently, we thought maybe we could get either one of those three people, or all three people of them, to come and kind of like give us a better feel of what went on behind closed doors. Because the citizens and the voters are really, really concerned with whether or not we're going to get anything, and we got problems in the city. The economy, we got the crime situation, we got the drug situation, we got the housing situation, and guess who has to pick up the tab? And we're paying these people an enormous sum of money, $130-some thousand. And in all due respect, and you look at their resumes and you ask the question, how are they going to discuss the issues? Because they don't have any background. And they don't even have an agenda. And we got a mayor that can make a decision in terms of challenging what's being thrown on the table, because in most cases, that's the position that's supposed to be the authority to kind of define specifically what you're going to be discussing. And there's a problem with that piece.
Well, they have, they have a chair of the council that's not the mayor, and they have a city manager.
No, you got a general, yeah.
And so sometimes you have too many heads on the drag.
Yeah, but at the same time,
they have a chair of the council and assistant chair.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we're right from with you. I was kind of long discussion up front, but like I said, typically that's where we are right now. Okay, but joining me in this discussion this time around, we've got Bob Williams. You've seen Bob here before, and you got John Sweeney. Okay, all right, John.
Yep.
Sounds great. So we're going to be talking about the city of Portland. We had one of the commissioners, in all due respect, the county commissioners, to come and take a lead charge, because those are the three senior people. Unfortunately, they didn't show up.
Right.
And it's really a sad note. So hopefully we'll get to those individuals, and we may have to just continue on with whatever. We'll try to get someone here, because in all due respect, they're the ones that we're paying. The voting public has paid for them to basically represent us in performing. But too often in that whole political light, in all due respect, we don't have the kind of response getting from individuals who are getting paid. They think that they're employers as opposed to employees. Okay, so with that, let's open it up. Let's maybe open it up from the standpoint of how did we get here? We were talking about the whole idea of the citizens made a decision. Let's kind of start like the beginning aspect of it. They said we needed a new form of government. We had a city council composed of five people. We had a mayor. Okay, you got me. And it was a majority vote aspect of it. And we had a budget, and it was an ongoing kind of for a number of years. And some folks said, well, no, we need to go through this new form of government. And at the end of the day, they put the committee together. People were selected to make those decisions. They came up with a decision, and they threw it out there on the table. And and all of a sudden, the first day out of the hoop of the people who were supposed to be making the decision, working on issues, basically said, we wanted to go on and increase the budget to hire more people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What are your feelings and what are your thoughts about why was there such a change and why did that happen? And now we're discussing that as opposed to dealing with the issues at hand. John.
Well, they for a long time were saying like the city of Portland was the only city of any size that still had a commission form of government. And they basically really had it out for that form of government. And got to be careful not to get to the four-letter words on this. But they just said, we're the only ones. You got to change it. Got to change it. And then the thing is, and there are a lot of people says, well, you get appointed as a city commissioner, and then they give you some bureaus. Well, you may not have any experience, but the deal is, you have professionals there who want the system to work. Now, to be up front, I was with the city of Portland Parks for 32 years, 8 months, and we've had good commissioners, and we've had good mayors, and we've had the other kind. But they got it, the fact that another form of government was going to be better, and they wanted to get out of it. And so they got this thing, and when I was running for city councilor in District 3, and I was saying the people who are city commissioners that were running to get on this council, and 3 of them were running for mayor, says, you don't want any of them. And I said, don't mark their name anywhere, because they had that thing in Alaska, and they didn't understand how that worked. And in the first go around on the ballot, there was a Democrat about halfway down. When they shuffled that thing around, for the first time ever, Alaska elected a Democrat for the representative in the Congress, and they were working to undo that form of government. And there was another place that had it coming on, and they wanted to do away with it before it came on, before they saw this thing. But anyway, the thing is, so they got this system in, and what I preach for them is, you don't want these people, because they have 3 chances to give the mayor veto power, and the mayor has no veto power. And if you get these people go off on a tangent and get something that either violates federal constitution or state constitution, or federal laws or state laws, then the thing is, he can't do anything about it. And what happens is if they pass that, then there's organizations out there that will take them to court, and it'll go to the Oregon Supreme Court. They'll take a look at it. It's in violation of and these type of things, and it'll be thrown out. But if it's something that sticks to the wall, so to speak, the mayor's got two choices. He could do it, or he can resign. And the deal is sometimes when you're in government, well, we've been in a service and we had to do things that we really didn't want to do.
Right.
Yeah. And so we got this form of government. The old form of government, it was kind of hard to get rid of a bad incumbent, see. But this new form, I think, is going to be hard to keep a good incumbent. And I think what you're going to have, if you still have a lot of people showing up to run for office, and for $150,000 a year for not much, I mean, that's a real attractive, because you really don't have to really do a performance, because you're not running a bureau, so you can't go out there and make a lot of mistakes. And so it's going to be a lot of turnover, and it's going to be real tough. And you know, they're spending money now like they're playing Monopoly, and they're talking with real money. And one of the things that most people don't know about, because when I started in 1965, the city of Portland and most government agencies did not have unemployment. When you left, that was your final check, was it. Then in Portland, the union got it on so that there's unemployment. And then they got it into state law. Now, you lay these people off because of ballot measure in '68 or something like that. Anyway, you lay them off, then they go file for unemployment, and they get unemployment. Then the state bills that government agency for that unemployment plus a 2% service fee. So dumping the employees is not free. In fact, the city council says, well, we're going to lose 300 employees, and the union says that's not true according to state law, because you have to lay off more to pay for that much. And he says, and you end up losing about 400 people. And so the thing is, when they come to the end and say they're going to have to drop so many people, no, it's going to actually be more, unless they really know about that law. And you know, and then Resolution A, I beat the drum on this a lot, which happened in '81, and the county was supposed to do social services and the jails and the bridges, because nobody wanted the bridges. But the thing is, what is going to happen after that, the fact that all the cities expanded, see, because they went back to municipal services, and then when the county commissioners run out of time because of term limits and they come on to the city, then they want to do the same thing. So that's why all of them are doing social services. So you have a lot of people in high-paid jobs are polishing chairs with their butts, and you have all these agencies competing that we're doing a better job than so-and-so. And this homeless thing has really got out of hand. And now I was in the Army National Guard, and I went to Aberdeen Proving Grounds, Maryland, and for my officer's basic and advanced, and talking to the permanent staff there, it says, come along, and Baltimore realized they were doing so much for the homeless way back then. They realized they didn't have enough money to service the people who were paying the freight. So they shut her off one year, and in July, and when people come there in October, says, where do we go? Well, Salvation Army and Goodwill, because they're out of it, because there's only so much money in the pot. And the fact is, people are getting tired of it, because we're really going to lose.
Okay, on that's a good point. Maybe stop and give Bob an opportunity. We're going to have a discussion, folks, on this piece. Bob, what do you think?
Well,
what have you seen?
You know, I feel sorry for this new administration coming in, because they're coming into a pit, and the pit is they're already on the negative side of things as far as money. They're over $100 million shortfall, and so they come in. They have to figure out what to cut, where to cut, and they don't have experience on who to cut. So this is going to be very interesting. I feel sorry. I kind of have sympathy for Michael Jordan, because he's got to lead this group, and it's one thing to lead a group that has some knowledge. It's another thing to lead a group that has no knowledge, because you're going to end up making a decision somewhere along the line that's going to affect not just this, but also a few other things down the line. So people and the entities had better watch this very, very closely.
Okay, well, tell me this now. What do you think about the structure in terms of getting those people that we've gotten on that new form of government? I mean, they had a process. They had a process where they said, okay, fine, we want to change. And then they went through, they put together a committee. And each city commissioner, I think, had either one or two. I think he had one person or something like that. And and then the mayor had two or something like that, and whatever. But anyway, it ended up with the 12 aspect of it. And then after they got that particular piece, and it was voted on, right? They voted on basically what they got in the recommendation from the people they'd gotten from the voters. So sort of the voters were at the meeting, making the meetings, okay? So now all of a sudden, now they've got the committee, and then the first day of the committee, it was, each commissioner was given with one staff member, and each, you had 4 districts, right? So that means you had 3 commissioners per district. Per district aspect of it. Whereas before you had 1 commissioner, or actually 4 commissioners for all 4 districts,
right?
Or for the whole city of Portland, right? You got me? And so now here we are sitting today discussing the vote that as far as the people are concerned. Well, that wasn't the decision that we made. Is that the kind of feedback? What do you think about that?
When you're not clear on what you're presenting, and when you're not there, if you're not there on a constant level to make sure that what is being presented is being carried out, this is what you get. You get a mess to start, and hope that you can fix it as you go. But now, as you're fixing that, what business is being taken care of? Because you got people that don't know how to take care of business. That's just.
But a lot of times, but when you get paid for a job, there's a job description.
But
they're getting paid for a position.
That's the thing. And that's the thing that I was about to say.
Yeah.
So
let's define the word position. What do you mean by that? John,
the position of city council.
So what does that mean?
That means that you're supposed to come in, and on whatever days they've set aside to discuss the business of the city and surrounding areas. And for that, you get and make decisions on what should be done. And for that, you make $133,000 a year.
Well, tell me this: were they pretty clear on the front end before they actually had the election as to what the issues were that the voters were told? What the voters basically said, these are the major concerns. They listed those. They talked about.
I don't remember seeing anything about that.
They listed housing. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about those things: housing, law enforcement, crime, drugs. Right? There's about 4 or 5 of them.
Actually, if you look at it, the way it works a lot of times is the fact that the press gets a feather up in the wrong place, and they basically run it. This is it. This is it. This is it. And you try to talk to something real, they don't want to hear that because they have these issues because they're hot or something. It's kind of like violence. If it bleeds, it leads all the time. And then you have the sob sister stuff, and so. They're away from it, and then the fact that these new consulars, the fact that they sit on this consul compared to the old system, because my time with the city, a lot of times the city commissioners came down and they were with us, the working group. So they come down past all the bosses and stuff, and had actually some of the mayors have actually come out and have been on some of the work projects and find out what some of our work was like. And some of them really liked it, and I think Mildred Schwab got on a gang mower and cut 18 feet of grass at 10 miles an hour.
That's once she got the position. Is that what you're saying?
She was the commissioner, and she come around, and what's really good is that some managers are dumb enough to lie to her. You lie to Mildred Schwab, and she's going to rip you a new one. But the thing is that these people are so far removed from everything because there's no real contact. And what they'll go out there, and like I said, the press has brought up some of these things, and they bring it to the people because that are watching television and maybe reading the newspaper and on social media, because the press gets on social media and they're pouring it out there, and that's what a lot of people are seeing, and they aren't having an effect on some of these other issues that are for real. And now, I have friends that were cops, and they had a shortage of cops one time. And he says what they really hated, they got a call. They're coming up to where there's a group of people, and they're going to help them. And you can see the hope in their eyes, and all of a sudden they got a call on the radio to go somewhere else. And he says, and they got a call to go somewhere else. And I've talked to a lot of them. He says, to leave those people there, he says, just kill them, because the fact that here they're going to help these people, and all of a sudden they got to dump them and leave them. He says it just really makes the job tough. You know, and the whole thing is that they are so detached, and the fact that they come in there and the one assistant wasn't enough, that for another assistant, that was a lot of money, and they took that money out of the reserves, the contingency fund, and then they took some money out for the contingency fund for the mayor, and then they turn around and they just, in the paper, they coughed another $7 million up for something in Old Town, some sort of business hub. And this, like I said, they're spending money like it's a monopoly, and it's going to get tough. And, you know, when they had Resolution A, Portland went from a 10 mile by 10 miles square with about 500,000 people to a 10 by 15, and now the population is about double. And the fact is that they had about 800 cops then. They should have had 1,000, and now they've got vacancies, and the total authorized strength is about 600. See, so the thing is that there's not enough cops to do the job, and somebody says, well, if they don't do the job, I'll sue them for failure to protect. No. The deal is, because of past president of the Oregon State Shooting Association in Washington, D.C., 3 women were brutalized, and they got to the phones of the cops 3 times and come by and look, didn't do anything, and they sued D.C. for failure to protect, went clear to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says the police are not obligated to protect you and I as law-abiding citizens, just the general public. So we're on our own. You don't have a gun, get one.
But Bob, again, same point. Who do you think should be responsible to educate the populace as to the now we're talking about the application and the application of the position, if you will. Who should that person be, or what group, or not only as a committee or whatever, to educate the people about this is what we're looking for the job? You see what I'm saying from?
Well,
and then if they get elected, these individuals are supposed to have been able to have gone on to the job, looked at the job, talked to the leaders, you know, that type of thing, aspect of it. And then basically, they would look at their resumes and find out whether or not they meet certain criteria. And at the same time, naturally, going out there and the media then interviewing those folks, you know, let me do that and all that stuff. I mean, where did we go from here? Did we miss something?
Well, you know, the idea of public service was the idea is that you see something that's going on within the public, you want to help and it's a job available where you feel you can help, you go and you get that job, and then you get somewhat the training from the people that are there on what you can and can't do. But right now, you know, there's no true caring. What I saw, and this is me personally, when I was looking at all these people, I'm like, who are these people? How is it that they are running for a seat on a council, and 75% of them, you've never heard of them?
Yeah.
You know, they haven't been in the news. They haven't been on the newspaper. I mean, you had to be in the neighborhood somewhere that you heard about. Or you might have surpassed something of that nature, and now you want to tell them that you're going to be responsible for the entire city. You're not coming here. You might have been elected in this district, but the decisions that are made by this 12-person, 16-person body, okay, is going to affect the entire city. And you really and truly don't know what's going on. You live over here on 100. You don't know what's going on 6. You have no idea what's going on in Northeast because you live in Southeast. All you do is hear it or see it on the news. And we got to, and that is something that should have been figured out before the election was done. If you're going to run, you're going to have some knowledge. That's why we used to have, what was it, where we would have people come and explain to the community or to people that was interested, what is your intent? What do you intend to do if you're elected? That's how people got educated on what people wanted. It's not, you know, because of the times and because of your time, people depend on us to give them some remnants of what they should be looking for. And so a lot is lost.
A lot of that is really true because there was a discussion recently about combining the Water Bureau and the Sewer Bureau. Now, I have a thing about the sewer shovel being put in my water, see? And the other thing is the sewer is, fortunately in Portland and Gresham, is gravity fed, low,
Right.
and some you pump a little bit, it's low pressure, but it's gravity fed. And our water system is one of the best in the world, and it's gravity fed, but it's high pressure. And you have somebody who's used to doing sewers walks over there and opens up a water line at 90 pounds of pressure. You know, they've had water breaks, and next thing you know, you've got a crater this, you know, about 100 feet in a circle and maybe 50, 60 feet deep in no time at all. But the thing is that it's two different psychologies for handling this thing. And the thing is that some guy's got 20 years experience with sewers, and he goes over there to a water line, you know, a pipe in the ground. The difference between a sewer line and a water line is tremendous. And the fact that it could be that somebody could actually, when they go to work on it, actually get themselves or somebody else killed. And the fact that the contamination could be really bad, because the idea of combining those two is defies logic. But these people sitting there with no connection to reality. Now, when I was running for office there and talking to some of those people, some of them were really from la land, you know, and some were pretty smart. But the deal with some of them, and I was looking at in District 3, I really lost out. See, so, but it's going to be tough.
Well, you know, but again, as we're discussing this issue, you think, okay, each of those bureaus have lead people. They got a responsible person running that particular bureau.
Right.
You got me? And so now we're bringing on people. And then, but at the same time, what they did, they changed it from the old way, if you will, with the old way and the new way, and said, well, we're going to bring a city manager in. We heard that at the front end.
Right.
But as we went through the election, you didn't even hear anything about a city manager. You know, you had Jordan. I mean, he came up and he started just talking about, and he was still organizing. His job was just to organize the group, so to speak.
Once elected, to make sure that those elected, you know.
But what happened to the city manager?
Well, he's acting in that role somewhat.
Yeah, but see what I'm saying.
But it's the mayor. It's the mayor's job to appoint a city manager.
Okay, but
so Jordan has kind of been appointed by the mayor.
By the new mayor.
But he was appointed by the old mayor.
By the old mayor. Okay,
well, and he's still holding the role.
So now
he's only going to do it until the end of the year. He's made that clear.
Again, that's not what they told the people, the voting public.
Right.
The voting public, they laid it right out in terms of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you meaning that the plan had to have been made before the folks were sitting in those seats. Yeah. And then the other thing about that whole piece is that, you know, you got a city. Initially, beforehand, we had 4 commissioners basically representing the whole. Well, actually, you had four city commissioners representing the Portland of Oregon. So a quarter each, right? You got me? So now we got 12, and we got 4 districts, and we've got 3 people representing each district. And so you say to yourself, now, okay, fine. Well, now, what are they going to do representing just taking one district, representing the same entity? How are they going to work this out? Should they have not basically divided it up into thirds, maybe? You know what I mean? Kind of like that kind of a deal, and specifically tell them these are the issues, the supposed issues, right? Supposed issues for that respective district. You got me? And give them some plan in terms of how do you respond, who do you talk to, all that other good stuff.
That's why we wish we've had the commission, the city commission that was supposed to be here had showed up. But that's a question for them. But I look at this and I laugh because as an ex-union rep, I know what members did. They would see me in the store and they would ask me a question. I give them an answer. Might be the correct answer. It would be the correct answer. They didn't like that. What did they do? They saw another union rep and asked them the same question. So in your district, you are 3 of us are running a district. They asked you the question. They call your office, ask you the question. Call my office, ask me the question. Now they could get 3. If we haven't talked to each other, they can get 3 different answers. You see what I'm saying? And then they go with the one that they like. Well, you said, and then find out that your answer was the correct one. Because they went with mine, the wrong one, and now it can't get done. Well, you said, you see what I'm saying? So at least if these people are not talking to each other, and they take that I'm in charge attitude of my office, you're going to have a lot of problems.
But you know, we're all former military. There was a thing called boot camp, and there was always some one person in charge. To educate us all in one shot, right? And so, and you look at that from the standpoint of what the city government's like. You got someone that saves the water bureau. You got a water bureau supervisor. That's kind of like the head dude, right? Got me? And he's basically okay, and he's got his program all set up. Already set up. So you ask yourself the question, well wait a minute, we already have someone. Why do we need 3 more people to go to boot camp when I already got my program? And then that person will say, well, we need to change that system overnight because I don't understand something.
But not only that, the real bad part is you got a person coming in and they're going to be over that. Well, what they've done, they said the city manager is over all those bureaus.
Right.
So now you're saying this one person's got to know everything. That's what they've said. This one person, the city manager, is over all the bureaus. So they got to know everything about, and that ain't gonna work.
Well, they didn't have as one would say, under the old system, they didn't have a city manager.
Right. They had
for the bureaus. They had a mayor.
they had a mayor that was in charge of everything, but he appointed a bureau
to be responsible.
To be responsible for
And
it.
so
Now that took that pressure off of him.
Yeah.
And because
Off the mayor.
Because he gave it to you to take care of that.
But look what it does to the person who's running that bureau.
Well, all he has to do is report to you. Now that person has to report to the city manager. So when the city manager has that, you get all the information. What does he do with it?
Yeah. Well, you know, the deal is, I talked to several of them.
And
you know,
it's too much. It's too much
yeah.
for one person.
The guy who basically runs the bureau. Let's say water.
Mm-hmm.
Water said the bureau. The guy who's on. He said he knows how to turn the water on and he knows how to turn the water off.
Yeah.
No one else knows that, other than the people that. And he's got an organized situation. Will turn this spigot on at such and such a time. Turn this spigot on, and then boom, I will turn the spigot on. Now you bring in new people. They have no idea of what it is. He's already now. So what do they do when let's say?
Why you have to turn this one on first?
That's right. That's right.
You know, you're wasting time over here. You could have been to did that, you know, and bingo. Now you got what? Confusion.
Well, I've talked to a few of the mayors, and I says, and other people, and I says, you know, one of the problems, if you look at it, the mayors have had traditionally the police, but they had fire and 911 with somebody else. When logic says should have them all together, the public safety thing together. And he says, yeah, but it's so big. No. I says, just like a major general in the Army in charge of a division, say a reinforced armored division, 20,000 troops. He talks to 5 people. You know, he doesn't talk to 20,000 people. He talks to 5 people, and they transit it on down, and the information comes back. And so, but time after time, they had the public safety for our citizens divided up. So they answer to 2 different bosses rather than, so they can get together and talk to one boss, and they're together for a conference. Because a lot of places the police radios and fire radios are not interchangeable. You know, they don't have that thing together. But if they have it's too late now. But the thing is that the public safety would be under one guy, you know, or one gal, you know it is. But and I don't think this new system I don't think they've done that either.
Well, they feel it would be too much chatter. You know, if I need to talk to Bruce, why do you need to hear it? You know, that's their attitude. And so I just laugh at it. I go, wow. You know, how long did it take us to get bureaus of national interest to begin to talk to each other? The FBI and the police. You know, no, you protect your corner. You know, and that's what everybody was doing, was protecting their corner, and not realizing that you protecting your corner puts us at more risk than all of you coming together. And I think it's just going to take time for this group to realize what they are in.
But do we have the time? That's the thing. See, do
Yeah,
we
you
have
got
the time?
time, because as long as you're alive.
No, but I'm just saying, when I say do we have the time, my point is that these entities have to be functioning. They're functioning now,
Yeah.
okay? And the spigot has to be turned on, and these entities now are saying, no, stop. You got to tell me how to do this over here, et cetera, et cetera. And the point the point I'm making is that they feel that they have to be responsible for the salaries that they're getting. Got me? And then so they come out and say, well, before I start work, I want more staff people because I don't think I can cover all of this stuff. So we're going to now make some decisions to do this over here. And by this time, this entity over here is saying, I need support right now. And then once they get the extra staff member, well, now you got to train another person within our deal, and somebody's got to now, what about the people out? You see what I'm saying? See, so what do we do at this point in time? We got some frustrated people. And by the way, the viewing audience, you got to understand, we're doing this kind of deal to give you an example of what you are doing now. This is what you are doing. We're just giving you an example of what the discussion is happening right now. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to pay for it. You got to pay for it. And right now,
the important thing about they're watching your corner. It's about the budgets, and they
Sure.
need to make noise so that they get money into their budget. If things get too quiet, why then the thing is they cut things down. You know, it's kind of like you get public disturbances and crime down. Well, then they figure, well, we don't need it anymore. Well, the deal is now. I was a private security guard, and I was in the military police and up there at Yakima firing center. And so instead of hiding in the bushes and waiting for somebody to come by to catch them, I'd sit out there where they could see me, so they would drive 30 miles an hour, see, rather than trying to catch them and see them doing 35 or 40, then pull them over so I could write them a ticket, because it's far more important for prevention than it is afterwards.
Right.
And so sometimes the deal is when you get certain things down and you're not writing tickets and stuff like that, and you figure, well, it's settled. No, the deal is getting it down is the idea, not getting people into jail and trouble like that. So.
But who's in charge?
A perfect example of people not knowing is that I serve. You know me in golf. I love to play golf. Serve on the golf committee. I was talking to one of the old councilman's brother, who lived next to my mother-in-law before she passed, and he says, "Oh, I see you out here playing golf all the time." I said, "Yeah, I serve on the city Portland's Park District Golf Committee." He goes, "Yeah, they need to close these golf courses, though." I say, "Why is that?" He said, "Man, they could take that off the budget. They don't need to be paying for these golf courses." So I told him, I says, "You're the brother of an ex-county city commissioner, and let me explain something to you. These golf courses take care of themselves. The city don't pay anything for upkeep, for paying the people. Anybody you see on this golf course working is paid because the golf course makes the money to do that." I says, I don't know any other entity in this city that pays for itself. I probably is some, but I don't know who they are. I said, these 5 courses pay for themselves. And he goes, "You're kidding. I talk to friends all the time. They didn't know that." I said, "Well, now you can tell them." And see, just that 2 minutes educated maybe 20 people. And that's what we have to look at. It's not taking, like John was saying, I got to protect my budget, so I'm not telling you anything. I don't want your walkie-talkie to be talking to my walkie-talkie. We got to open it up.
But see, Bob, you make a good point, and that's the point I'm making from the standpoint. Okay, so you've been playing golf, you know what's going down. It's kind of like the lead person.
Right.
You got the lead person. Now a person is running for office, and then one of your responsibilities, you're going to assume some control. You're going to deal with the issue of the golf because there's a problem there. You got my point? No, I'm talking about the other person.
Sure.
Okay? And then so now you've got to take the time. Depends. To how you react to that particular person, because one, they're paying the paycheck, and I'm just saying the problem that I'm looking at right now is that they're running for office because they're saying, here, my platform is about the golf thing to turn it off. I mean, to basically divert the money. We don't need it anymore.
Right.
That's the platform, and they get elected.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, then they come up to you. But by the time they get to the point that they know exactly how to articulate to the budgeteer to close it up, and then they accidentally just close it up, because to a certain degree, the entity that's maybe running it say, "Well, look, I don't have the time to do this stuff. I'm going to go out and find myself another job."
Yeah, That's the thing. I'll give you a good example. Is that there was a entity that wanted to close one of the golf courses, Red Tail, a money maker. You know,
Yeah.
they want to close it and put the baseball
Yeah.
over there.
I remember that. Yeah.
And you know, we didn't say, you know, as a committee, we didn't say anything. We said what we thought. We sent the letter of what we thought it was a bad idea to the mayor's office. But the people, you know, if you all it takes is one leak from somewhere, and bingo, and the people over there said you must be insane, and bingo, that died.
But should they have had the knowledge? Because in all due respect, when they're making the money, I mean, they got to basically show where they're housing the money and taking the money and spending it on whatever. Okay, audit the
Here's
system.
the bad thing I see right now. We had one commissioner that was in charge of parks, right? Mm-hmm. And that commissioner, so parks is not just go to the park. Parks got a lot of tentacles.
Yeah.
And so that commissioner's not going to spend all their time looking at all those tentacles. They just get a report.
Yeah, from the system.
Yeah.
From the system.
And so they look at it or they don't. Everything's running smooth. I ain't bothering you.
Right.
And so, but when things begin to percolate over in there, like with the county and Glendevere, there was people on the city that wanted the county to close Glendevere and make it a place for the homeless. You know, I'm glad the county didn't listen to them, but and that was a city commissioner. And so I just look at it. You have fights within the system, and sometimes you're fighting against your own, and trying to educate them. You know.
Yeah, but 12 commissioners.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to educate every one of them.
You got 12 commissioners for the city of Portland, and you only have 4 county commissioners for the whole county.
Yeah.
But the county commissioners are like the city councilors. The deal is they don't have a job. 'Cause it's not like the city commissioners where they had a job.
Well, they don't have one now. That's what I'm saying.
No, Multnomah County, since Resolution A.
I'm talking about the city.
Yeah, but I mean the city. The deal is they have a position. They don't have an actual job that has to get some performance. See, and like the Park Bureau, it has the golf and PIR. They're
all the parks,
enterprise funds.
Yeah.
And then you look at Water Bureau and sewers, and they're dedicated funds because they're making money because people are paying for the water and the sewer. See, and then you get gasoline funds for the streets.
Right.
So some of those things, when they want to start cutting them out, the deal is, what, you're going to still collect the money or something? You know, you cut off those golf courses, and like Red Feather out there, I mean, it's got a real nice facility and the whole works. See, Eastmoreland's been redone, and Rose City could use a little help.
Getting ready to do Rose City. Looking at what we can do at me and my memory.
Out there at the West Delta, which is now Heron Lakes.
Heron Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
but what
just
I'm hearing-
imagine what would happen out at Heron Lakes. We had a big clubhouse out there where you could have functions and
But
things.
what I heard you say also too, they were making money, so they were putting the monies back into the deal.
Yeah,
Right? Is that what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
You look at Rose City. See, people don't understand how many people it takes to maintain. Number one, to maintain all that grass, so it don't die. How to maintain the wetlands. They're looking at putting a walking track in around Rose City. They just put in 2 new greens out there, and I was shocked at the cost of a green because I was going to have one put in a corner of my backyard. Shoot, my backyard will stay grass. A green $150,000
Jesus, right?
just for a green. You're talking 25 by 25, maybe square it out.
Yeah, that green isn't just a lawn. It's,
No, everything under it. The
But
whole
not
bit.
you know, but the venue, but the monies that are generated from the golf course
Right.
is enough money to pay for those things.
Right.
Right? Am I right?
Over time, yes.
They're paying for it.
Right.
So they're paying for themselves,
Yes.
if you will. So then, so that's why I'm looking at these other bureaus now. Where do they get their money? So then we have to. That's when the taxes.
That's when the taxpayers take care of it.
We have money, but we need the service.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
you have dedicated funds and you have the general fund. And the general fund runs like that money is like parks and police and fire and 911,
Right, right.
where it comes from the taxpayer direct, which is they're not making money. But the thing is, you have to look at those things what they're fund, like the golf course is an enterprise fund, PIR is an enterprise fund, and Public Works, and they're gathering up their leaves and stuff and grinding that up, and they're selling that stuff as compost. And their first year that they put the thing together, they made $18,000 profit, and they were building the thing at the same time. So a lot of people say, well, government workers are lazy and all that. Well, that's not true. You look at most people, public or private, if they have a job, they want to do a good job. And sometimes you can't do a good job because you got somebody up the ladder that's screwing it up for you. But the deal is, most people, that has a job, public or private, they want to do a good job because there's satisfaction of doing a good job.
Right.
And I took a guy's place in '67 running the gang mower. And those guys that are into the golf course business, it's almost like a religion to them. You talk about, syringing the grains and doing all this different stuff. And they're dedicated to it. In fact, when they go on vacation, they visit other golf courses. So.
And that was the thing that got me, was when we, as a committee, we don't have to talk to the employees and all that stuff. The employees was happy when we showed up. We would have a luncheon or something in a meeting, and they were there. And then now, Vince, who is leaving us, and I hope he one day he'll see this because the city of Portland is going to miss him. He's leaving. He's going to I think it's California. To run some entities down there for the city of Los Angeles, and so, but he did a phenomenal job with this committee, educating us and the whole bit, and that's a person that took pride in his job, it's just one of those things where it's kind of hard to find people that take pride in the job nowadays. Yeah. And those guys on those golf courses, man, when you pass one of them and you say something to them like, man, hey, I want to tell you, nice job. You should see them. And that's all it takes, and they're out there in the rain, the snow, the whole bit, making sure that the job is taken care of.
But what I'm hearing you say, and that's why I'm asking that question. With the new form of government, are we going to have a better situation, or do you think are we going to have what's the
Only
deal?
time will tell.
Yeah, but my point is that there's quite a bit of revenue that we're going
only time
put
will
in that
tell.
particular pot.
You will find out if you spend. It's just like to me, that new form is just like a house. You buy this house, somebody else lived in it, and you buy this house. You don't know what was wrong. You had it inspected. They might have missed something, or something was about to go and it hasn't gone yet. And so that's the same thing with this new form of government. It's just you're going to pay for it, and only time will tell. But you do have a way to get rid of them if they're not doing the job. That's what you're.
Yeah, but this time though, they're saying that. Again, like I said, you divide it into 4 parts.
Yeah.
You got 3 people per district aspect of it. You got me, and they basically sold that to the people per se. I'm expecting somebody to knock on my door because, I mean, I can't even call down there in the old form of government. They wouldn't even answer my phone. You know what I'm saying? And then in the new form of government, they've sort of like said, well, where's the person supposed to be knocking on my door? Because they're all down at City Hall having meetings every Wednesday. And if you want to talk, you got 3 minutes to put whatever's on your mind to lay it out, and it didn't work.
And if there's a big crowd, it's 2 minutes.
See that?
Yeah.
It's sort of an insult to a certain degree, especially with the person who's paying the bill.
Well, what it does is what I call we're doing something, and that is you see a show, but then you can't be in the show, and the people that's in the show is not giving you anything of substance out of the show.
Yeah, but
you're not getting anything, so you're just there. A lot of cannon
but
fodder.
supposedly the way it's laid out, but supposedly that's the way it should work, meaning that I give you the script, and then you just follow up on the script to me.
Oh,
but all of a sudden, no, that's not the way. It's all of a sudden you're giving me a script.
No.
That's what happened. That happened a long time ago, and it happened in as we say, big government, which is federal. It trickled down to the state. Now it's in local, and now it's in your subcommittees and your committees outside and everything else. It's let me give you the show. But okay, thank you. What does that mean? I came with a problem. Even though my 3 minutes, I told you what my issue is. Well, thank you. Mr. Sweeney, you're next.
Yeah, in a very rude way.
I mean, I've been there, I've seen this, and I laugh. I went to a Clackamas County meeting, and I was the only person in the room. And one of the commissioners asked me the question, why are you here? You know me. I can't tell you what I said, but it wasn't nice to him in his position. But from that point on, they all knew who I was. So evidently I made an impression. And so that's what you.
That's the way. Well, I'm saying we're having this discussion because we're right in the mix, if you will.
But the thing is, like you spouted off, really, and sometimes the deal is being polite to these people doesn't work. So you're insulting them because you have to.
Yeah.
They don't listen otherwise.
But they really need to look at that 3 minute, 2 minute type thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
you take it this way, Bruce. If you got 50 people out there, or 10. And every one of them get 3 minutes. That's 30 minutes plus time to shuffle.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit there?
No. But you get
no. I'm saying no. I'm talking about you, the other person that's in the audience, that's sitting there in the audience. This guy is talking about. Well, yesterday the cats were.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's why they have to have a time limit.
Yeah, but still, I'm still saying. You're getting paid to sit down there. As if to say, if you got 50, you got 60, you got 70 people, and if that's basically what you've said up front, because you can just call in for the agenda, right?
Right.
You get the agenda out. We're going to be talking about this subject matter aspect of it, and people have responded to the fact that they're going to respond to the deal, and you say, okay, if I'm going to give you 5 minutes or whatever. I'm just saying my point. But the idea is that that's not the setup. The setup, they just basically say, this is the agenda. And then everybody.
And then they go through the agenda. Then they say public comment.
Right. But then.
And you have 3 minutes of public. I know how that works because I was on the board of directors of TriMet.
We're at the end of the deal again, folks. Here it is again. That's what we're doing right now. We're just basically giving you some ideas. Okay. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Wow, time goes.